Robert. So we came up with this concept called the Vault, and we're very passionate about preserving tattoo history. There's a lot of it that's been lost, and you don't really understand history's history until it's too late, and we want to make an initiative to make sure we preserve as much of that as possible. So we came up with this concept to talk to people who have been in the tattoo community for a long time and have lived through some crazy stories, have done a lot for the community, and you are a very successful tattoo artist, businessman, and have done a lot for the community. So we wanted to pick your brain and hear some of your stories throughout your entire career.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope you're okay with that.
I mean, I'll do my best.
No, I mean, I should have warned you on the drive out here from Vegas. Yeah, I mean, in a perfect interview, we won't even do a whole lot of talking, you know. We want to document as many stories as possible because I know that, you know, in the 90s and 2000s, everything was tattoo magazines. And I've been blessed to hear a lot of really cool stories from a lot of you guys, but I know the world hasn't. So there's sort of, you know, Jack Rudy was supposed to be our first guest, and he knew it, and it didn't happen. So it gave us that sense of urgency even more. Not saying you're going to pass away, you're still a youngster, but I'm just saying we want to document these stories in the cloud, on YouTube, something you can search, you know, that lasts forever. Because if you told some cool stories in a magazine and I go trying to search for it on Google, it's not going to show up, you know. So anyways, yeah, thanks for coming down today. Thanks for spending some time with us during this busy schedule of yours. But if you don't mind, let's start from the beginning. I believe I heard you were born in Cambodia, right?
Yes, I was born in Cambodia during the time before the Khmer Rouge came over and kind of took over the Communist Party, you know. So that was right after the Vietnam War ended, and they started to come in. So we kind of left. Fortunate enough to leave right before they took over, you know, because they tricked everybody to leaving the city because they were saying, like, you know, the U.S. was coming and bombing the place. So they fooled everyone to go in the woods, in the fields, and then they ended up killing millions of people, you know. So we were one of the very few that was fortunate enough to escape. And we went to France, and I was 2 years old when we left. And, you know, my mom was actually the one that saved us because she convinced my dad to take us out. But my dad didn't want to go because he had, you know, like all his 9 brothers and sisters, his mom, dad, the whole family, and he didn't want to leave them. So my mom was like, no, take us out first, and then you can come back and then get the rest of the family, you know. So luckily he did that. And then when he tried to go back, there was no entry because, you know, there was that war. And then they ended up killing everybody, all his
So he lost his brothers and sisters?
Everybody, the whole clan just wiped away. So I'm the only one with the last name besides.
To carry on the name.
Yeah, on my dad's side.
That's heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy, but, you know.
Why France?
I think my dad was studying in France because, you know, he was like a teacher. So he was studying there for, you know, to further his education, and that's what I hear, you know. So he was back and forth in France, and then, you know, in France, I know they had some sort of relationship with Cambodia to help like refugees and stuff. So we went there first. It was a big group that went there as well, you know.
And then when, why, and how did you make it to the States?
Well, the original plan, they were supposed to go back to Cambodia after the war ended, you know, so they waited, and then, you know, after like 8 years, there was still nothing. I was already 10 years old, and then they were like, hey, you know, we need better education, and they heard the United States had like the best education, and, you know, so that was what they did. So they knew they couldn't go back, and then they applied for somebody to petition for us, and then we got accepted and went to El Monte, California.
You ended up straight in Los Angeles?
Yeah, straight in Los Angeles in 1980 or 81.
So you're 10?
Huh?
You're 10?
Yeah, I was 10 years old.
Did you speak French?
French was my first language.
Crazy.
So I spoke French, and then...
Do you still know any of it?
I have the accent, but I can't, you know, if I really like try to learn it. I'm sure I'll get it, but I do have the accent. So every time when I speak to somebody that speaks French, they're like, "Oh my God, your accent is like amazing." So I still have that, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what was life like in LA at age 10? You know, what took you on your artistic tattoo journey?
Well, you know, we were blessed to be going to, you know, the U.S., but I don't think my parents knew anything much at the time about the U.S., right? Other than the fact that, you know, you can get good education and things like that. And where we lived, it was like, you know, El Monte back then. Like we lived like in the heart of like gangland, man. It was just very like graffiti, like everything, you know, across the street from Fletcher Park. We got robbed, I think, twice the first week.
Oh, wow.
That's not a good first impression.
Yeah. So, and then during that time too, I remember it was, the U.S. was a little bit weird with the way things were because, you know, we just lost the Vietnam War. So for Asian people, it was very like hyped, you know, like anyone that was Asian was like, hey, you know, go back to your country.
You didn't feel welcome.
Like, yeah, so, you know, we were dealing with that. I remember clearly, you know, just going to restaurants or anywhere we went, people would just do the eyes and tell us to leave the country, and we weren't allowed to eat there or whatever, you know. So I think that's where my trouble started, is because you know, I had seeing that I started build like anger, you know, and then every time people did that, I can see my parents, they were very, you know, come on, let's go, you know, let's leave. They just ignore. But like for me, I was just like the only one that was like, why are we leaving? You know, why you know? And I would just look back as we're walking and just mad dogging them, or, you know. So as far as I can remember, that's where a lot of the hate started, you know. Yeah.
Wow.
Was there any thought of leaving California?
Huh?
Was there any thought of leaving California?
I was 10 years old. I don't think my parents understood, you know, and you know, growing up there, like you had to go to school, you know, and then deal with a lot of stuff, people making fun of you, fighting all the times. I always get in trouble, fighting, and then, you know, I get in trouble at school, and then I get in trouble with my parents.
Yeah. So
you know?
people.
So it's like a no-win situation. Like, you know, like you thought you're doing good for standing up for yourself, but then you get beat because you stood up for yourself, and it didn't make sense, you know. It was just like.
Yeah.
And that was let's see. So that was what year around? Like mid 70s?
Oh no, that was like 80. We got there around 81, I think.
81?
Yeah.
I was gonna. Okay. So yeah, so they just associated you with Vietnamese or like the enemy.
Yeah.
And so you had to deal with racism, right? You think, oh, we're going to the land of the free and great schools and all this good stuff, and you end up in a rough part of town and with, you know, white people being racist and getting mad and telling you to get out of the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah.
So where did that take you? You said the anger started building up?
I started building up, and then every time I got in trouble, you know, my parents would move to different cities throughout California. So we lived everywhere, like so many cities, because every time I got in trouble, you know. And then it just kept getting worse as time went, and then, you know, just eventually just ended up getting arrested for different things, you know, and then eventually joining a gang, and then getting worse, and then eventually just fighting, you know, life in prison, you know, going to prison.
And you mind me asking how much time you did?
They tried to give me life, and then we took a plea bargain, and the judge gave us 14 years.
Yeah, I remember being in the teens.
Yeah, 14 years, so ended up doing like 7 years, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where'd you do time?
I did time in like a youth training school, YTS. It's no longer here, but it was like Gladiator School back then. It was nicknamed. I did that for 2 years, and as soon as I turned 18, I went to Chino and then did state prison time.
So how old were you when you first got?
16.
16.
Yeah, I tried as an adult.
Until 23, you got out.
23, got out, yeah.
And then what was the first thing, or like while you're in prison, what did you say you were going to do when you got out? Goals or anything?
Well, originally I had plans to like retaliate and not do all these things, you know, but as time went on, I just started questioning like where I stood in life, because, you know, the people that you thought were your homies or your, you know, like they just forgot about you, they're gone, you know. So that secondary family that you thought you had, it just wasn't there. And then you just question like, why am I even, you know, like
And
what did I do all
while
this
you're
for?
locked up. When you first went in there,
Yeah.
you're probably angry.
Yeah,
And
at
then
first
maybe
you're
year
still
4,
going
year
in,
5.
banging, like, you know, then you know, you're thinking like, oh man, what, like, you know, I have to rethink my life, you know.
Right.
And that family, you can't really count on them, you know. And your real family is the one that's there for you, because they were the ones, you know, sending you packages and, you know, things like that. But
Now, did you have any artistic ability before prison?
oh yeah,
'Cause
I had artistic ability
you first
since I was
tattooed in
like,
prison, right?
yes, no, I was tattooing like just, you know, the needle with thread.
Before you got locked
Yeah,
up?
before I got locked
Oh,
up,
okay.
you know, but
It's just some of the homies from the neighborhood?
yeah. But
How
I
many,
never,
but you did? You did a few?
Yeah,
How
yeah,
many do you
yeah.
think you did before you got locked up?
oh God, I don't know. 5, 6, 7, maybe 10, I don't know.
Okay.
What was
Yeah.
the first one?
Huh?
What was the first one?
Little, you know, neighborhood stuff, or, you know, the 3 dots on the hand, and yeah.
So many people's first tattoo are the stick and poke 3 dots. on
Yeah,
the
it was just part of the culture, I think, you know, and being in prison, that's where I found tattooing really. Like I really paid attention to that, you know, because it was a different type of art form, and the art form was just like, man, it was just amazing. Just seeing all these guys come out with like, just doing just amazing pieces, you know. It's not the typical stuff you think or you see out here when people talk about prison ink. Like there is really good prison work in there that people don't know, you know. And it's just like out here, there's people in there that were like known, like, you know, they had a name to it. Like if you see somebody's work, like, oh, so and so did it, so you always remember. And then, you know, you just, oh, where is he at? And, oh, he's up there and up north, or he's here. And then, you know what I mean? It was just kind of, yeah. It was like that kind of culture. So I got really inspired by it, and I started tattooing. You know, right away, I, you know, started tattooing myself, and then I started tattooing all my bunkies and roommates, and it just, once people start seeing my work, it started getting more and more requests, and then that's how I made a living, you know.
So you kind of got inspired by seeing the tattoos in there, and you thought, I can do this. I've already done it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then how'd you do it? Like, what was the process?
I mean, you know, in the beginning we had to make our own everything, right? You know, guitar string, Walkman motor, you know, the ink from in there, you know, where you know, styrofoam cup of noodle, you burn that, you collect the ash from that, mix it with toothpaste, shampoo, you know, like that nasty tap water, no gloves, you know what I mean? We use the same needle on people, you know. It's just like we didn't think, you know, but we just did what we could because we loved it so much, you know.
Could you get in trouble, or did you ever get in trouble? Because some people, sometimes the guards will turn.
It's contraband, you know, and it's illegal to tattoo in there. So if you get caught, I think they give you like 30 days in prison. And I remember I got caught a few times.
Just added to your sentence.
Yeah, so they added to my sentence, you know. Every time you got caught, it was 30 days, and then another 30 days, and it's like.
So did you do it at nighttime? Like, how would you get away with it?
Well, we did it everywhere, but I think like when I got caught, it was like at night. Yeah, it was at nighttime, you know.
Walking around,
Yeah, because they would walk around and like, you know, just peeking everybody's cell what they were doing, and they got caught, man, like a couple of times.
What are some tattoos that you saw in prison? Because you said there were some elaborate, like really well done ones.
Yeah, really nice work in there. I mean, you would see like, you know, people come out with like a whole back piece, bodysuits, just like endless of collages and murals. It was amazing, you know, mostly Chicano art, a lot of just everything, you know. It was just amazing to see. And what could be done in there, you know, with just like the tools. So I learned it right away, and then I got pretty busy, you know. Yeah, I felt like if I would have stayed there, I would have been like really, really known too, you know.
Yeah,
of course.
then you were doing this in prison. Once you get out, was there a gap in between you picking up a tattoo machine, or?
I did tattoo right away when I got out, but it was more for like doing like friends and stuff like that. I never thought you could make a living out of tattooing. You know, when I was locked up, that was not an option of like, there was not a thought. So it just, you know, as time got closer for me to getting released, I remember calling my mom and my sister and a couple friends. I was telling them like, I'm not ready to come out, you know. Like I don't want to come out. Like I'm set right now. I got everything. I'm good. You know, what am I gonna do out there? You know, I have no clue. I have no diploma. I got no skill, no nothing.
Yeah.
So tattooing was not even like you know, it was more like a kind of like an underground thing. You know, it was more for like, you know, the hardcore crowd, or you know, it was like for us. You know.
But you're saying there was a time where you didn't want to leave prison? You felt like...
No, I didn't want to leave prison. Even 30 days before I got out, I was like trying to fight it in my head, you know? Like I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Yeah, it was.
But you wouldn't go and do something. Did you think about getting yourself in trouble to stay in there longer?
I thought about that too. That crossed my mind, you know? But then you're just like, you know, it's like your voices talking to each other, you know? One's like telling you don't, the other one's like...
There's got to be a psychological term for that right there.
Yeah, maybe, but it was like, you know, I mean, what? I left when I was 16, and then now you're like, oh damn, I'm an adult.
Yeah, you're growing up in there.
You know, I got nothing.
You got
no money. I got nothing.
Yeah.
And people that you feel turn their back on you back at home.
Yeah, where am I gonna live at? And before I got locked up, I was living with friends. You know, I was a runaway. I was living with my friends. I didn't have like my family to live in, you know. Were
they like before you got out or when you got out? Did you have a place like were your parents welcoming you back home, or did you not even?
Oh yeah. My mom got remarried, and then they ended up when I got up. There was the one that picked me up, and I stayed with them. You know.
Back in Los Angeles.
Back in Covina, yeah, Los Angeles, yeah. So I got paroled from like up north, and then we drove all the way down. They picked me up. But still, you know, like it was crazy. Like not knowing what you're gonna do, you know.
What was that thought like? Sorry, what was the thought process like getting out? It's like, okay, I'm out. Like for the first week, first year, you know.
Well, you know, you have to check in with your probation officer. They tell you got to get a job. You know, you got to fill out applications and try all these things. So I did that. You know, I just went everywhere, applied for jobs, and nobody will hire you because I guess your record. And then you know, I used to pick up newspaper, and in back of newspaper there's like ads of like work, you know, like you can do like telemarketing. You know, I did almost everything, you know. Like I remember one of the things I did was meet people that had you meet these guys in a parking lot. They come up with a van, and then they give you like, you don't know what you're gonna get, but they'll give you bags of like calculators or flowers or pens.
Door to door.
You go door to door and you sell, you know.
Oh shit.
I did that for a long time, and some weeks I didn't make nothing, and then some I barely made anything. That was hard too, you know. I did that, and then I did like telemarketing, where I had to call people, try to, you know, like if their house was getting foreclosed, I would try to help them out by, you know, introducing an investor that would come in. Like I did everything, man. Yeah.
That's a tough gig.
Yeah, it's tough. And then,
I did the getting in the white van and driving around neighborhoods selling stuff too.
Yeah.
I look back and like sometimes I'll come across neighborhoods and they're not good neighborhoods, and I'm like, I remember that guy dropping me off in this neighborhood. I can't believe, and I was a teenager. I'm like, I can't believe that guy dropped me off at age 14, and I walked around this neighborhood knocking on doors.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember the guys that were doing that. You know, a lot of them were young. You know, I felt like I was older. You know. Yeah. I mean, even though I wasn't, you just feel like you're old. You know.
But you would take whatever you could get at the time.
Yeah. And then I even worked like, you know, I eventually got accepted at a job doing like typing. You know, typing like. Registration forms or cards or whatever. Yeah, I did that. you know.
How'd you learn how to type? That's not.
Yeah,
I learned how to type.
my girlfriend makes
easy.
fun of me because
I took typing in high school, so that kind of stuck with me.
You just must have been good at it.
And then when I got locked up, that helped me get a good job in there too. So that typing was always like with me, you know. So even when I got out, I finally got a typing job because
No kidding.
yeah. But you know, tattooing, I did that on the side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I tattooed just more for like a friend, and then the friend would bring me like a couple more friends, and those couple more friends bring me a couple more friends, and then they all tip me, and then eventually I was like, man, I'm making more doing this than I am at my typing job, you know?
Yeah.
So then that's when I started getting the idea, like, man, maybe I should open a shop or do it legit, so that way I don't get in trouble, you know? I tried to open one in Covina, and then, you know, the process back then, it was illegal in Covina. You had to pay them like $2,000 to go to a hearing to see if they'll accept you or not. And if they don't accept you, you lose that money. You know, so that didn't work out because I didn't want a chance risking $2,000. I mean, it was a lot to me back then. So, yes.
Were you drawing at this time as well?
Drawing?
Yeah. Did you ever, or just tattooing?
Just tattooing. You know, the drawing stuff I didn't do as much, but even though, you know, I did more when I was in prison, but when I got out, I was just trying to keep busy, you know. And then when I met my wife, you know, we almost got married right away after I got out, and she was the one like supporting me, you know. So she had the job, and then she took care of me, and I felt like very small, you know, because I couldn't work or couldn't, you know, do anything to help her pay the bills. But yeah, faith happened, and then one thing led to another. I ended up partnering with one of my friends that I got locked up with. He was in North Carolina. Asked me to go visit him, and I visited him, and I tattooed with him for about 2 weeks. I came back to California, and then his mom called me, said that he got locked up because I guess he had a warrant, and she asked me to go help take care of his shop. And I was living in California, and I was like, you know, I had a son, I had my wife, and then, you know, I told my wife, man, I gotta go, you know, it's my friend in North Carolina. And she said, hey, go ahead, you know. I said, I don't know when I'm coming back, you know, but I'm gonna be there. So I thought I was gonna get out, like, you know, I mean, I thought he was gonna get out in like maybe a week or a month, but he ended up not getting out till about a year. So I ended up staying at that shop 7 days a week for a whole year, learning how to do color, learning how to pierce, learning how to
With no shop experience?
No shop experience. I would just throw it in the fire like that because my friend got locked up and I had to keep his shop open.
Have you ever even been at a shop at that time?
No.
Never even walked in a shop? Didn't even know how it worked?
Wow.
I just visited him for like a week, and I guest spotted with him for like a week, and then I went back to California, and then all of a sudden I'm there full-time, everything.
Wow.
People wanted color, butterflies, whatever, fuck it. What color? All right, yeah.
Was there like an artist thing? Like, how were you able to learn this stuff? How were you able to learn the color tattoos and learn the piercing?
Well, he had everything at the shop. I had to do it. I had no choice. You know, people wanted piercing. I had to do it.
Oh, so they just came in.
Yeah,
like,
I want a tongue piercing. Let's do it.
You were piercing too?
Yes, I had to learn everything.
Like, so what did you use as a resource? Did you get
Well, he
books?
had everything, you know. So I was just like, okay, like we're gonna figure this out. So
No YouTube.
no YouTube. There's no social media. No nothing.
Yeah, and there wasn't books on that kind of stuff.
No. There was a Hulk Spalding A to Z book by me, but that didn't.
That's what you had.
Yeah, that's all we had.
Your encyclopedia.
Yeah.
What was the first person that came in where you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be the toughest thing I've ever done?
Man, you know, you can't think like that, man. Like, but you know, everything was tough to me, to be honest. Like, just imagine piercing like nipples, and you don't know what the hell you're doing. You just have to use your mind real quick, you know. Okay, these are the clamps, or I just gotta make sure this is gonna be straight. Just right, poke a hole, and then make sure the clamp is. You know, you use your common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just, yeah, that's all you can do.
Were there any like bad nipples done or like any mess
I'm
ups?
sure, yeah, crooked tongues. Like I remember all of that, you know? After taking it out, I was like, oh shit, okay, let's just go. Don't say anything, you know?
But I mean, as a tattooer or piercer, and you know, I don't tattoo, but you kind of gotta, like once they leave the shop, you gotta forget about it and be able to sleep that night, right?
Yeah.
You know, what can you do but try your best the next one, right?
I mean, he had like aftercare instructions and everything, so I had to, you know, like learn everything and just.
And wifey's back at home, and you're just like.
Yeah, for like a year.
Taking it on the chin, just sitting here. But at the same time, we all know there's no better way to learn than to just dive right in, right?
Yeah.
So that was like your college.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he finally got out a year later?
A year later, and you know, he told me, hey, you know, I gave him the keys and everything, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna head back, you know.
Were you making some money?
Yeah, I made some money and everything, you know, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna head back now, you know. I was like, you know, and go see my family, and they were like, hey, you know, if you ever wanted to come out here, like I'll give you half the shop for doing that for me, you know. And I called my wife and go, hey, you know, we were looking to open a shop in Cali. Like my friend's giving me half the shop. You want to move out here? She said, all right, well, I'm down. Let's do it. So then I moved my wife and son, and we lived in North Carolina for 6 years. And that shop was called Skin Design. So he was the first one.
That's right.
That had the shop, you know.
Now that's kind of cool that you kept the name the whole time. Now while he's locked up and you're doing all this, dealing with everything, was your frame of mind changing at all? Like, okay, I'm learning this stuff, I'm learning stencils, I'm learning aftercare, I'm gonna go home and my life's gonna be different. Was your mind thinking that, or were you gonna come home and you still don't know what you're doing?
No, I was gonna come home and eventually open a shop there, you know, because I didn't know I was gonna move out, you know what I mean? I thought I was gonna stay in California forever, so that was my next thought, learning all these things, you know. I was gonna come back with all this experience and do my own, you know. But since he offered me that, you know, and my wife said, okay, like, you know, we just went to North Carolina and ended up staying there.
And how was that compared to California?
I like North Carolina. It was totally different, you know. It's very country, you know, a lot of greenery, a lot of, you know, the southern hospitality is real, you know, people.
So there's less racism during that time?
Well, yeah, because this is like in the 90s, you know.
So this is, what, like.
Yeah. So it's less racism, but you can still feel the
post-Vietnam War mellow.
That's straight racism. That was like very, like, you know, the whole U.S. is mad, you know, because of that war. That's a war like nobody likes to talk about.
But that tone calmed down, so.
Yeah, it calmed down, yeah. So when we went there, actually the community in North Carolina loved us because we were not only different, but, you know, we provided like this service, you know, so we gained a lot of like love and respect, and, you know, we adapted to the culture there, you know, tattooed a lot of rebel flags, and, you know, and yeah, I mean, you know, it's part of history, you know, and I got really close to a lot of the people there, like really close to them, like they treat me like family, you know. Every time I go there, we stay with them and everything, and you can tell their whole history is all like, you know, that darker history. Yeah. But I don't care about that because it's just, I understand, you know, it's like, but the way that they treated me and us was, man, it was really good, you know. So North Carolina, like, gave us a lot of love, you know, and we always remember that, you know. Yeah. Awesome. Kickstart my career and just the reason why we're here, you know.
I like that Southern hospitality too.
Oh yeah, it's different.
Everywhere there's good and bad, but there's a lot of sweet people.
I mean, Hawaii got the aloha. This is the same thing with Southern hospitality. Like, if I can say anything, like, it's probably even more aloha there. Really? Yeah. I mean, if you drive down the street, people just wave at you, right?
Everybody waves.
The Northeast isn't like that. That's where I'm from. It's just like,
even Hawaii's not like that. You know?
Yeah. No, my grandparents.
I mean, you're driving and the stranger's on the sidewalk walking and looks at you and just waves.
Yeah.
So nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
But I also understand, you know, I feel like busier. When people come to California, I'm always like, is everyone nice to you? You know, especially when our international friends come.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was nice, but I think big cities, people are more stressed out and they're trying to get to their second, third job, trying to figure out how to pay bills. So they're just kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, but that's
we
cool.
have
you got
shops
experience.
like in New York and everywhere, so I get to experience like New
Right.
York, California, Hawaii, you know, North Carolina.
That
So you can
each
tell
one.
everywhere is like different, you know.
Yeah.
And like you said, in the bigger cities where everyone's just
Yeah.
hustle and bustle, it's rude.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have time for like hi and
Yeah.
you know.
So then, okay, so now you ended up taking his
Partnering
offer,
with- yeah.
moved out there.
Yeah.
What happened next? Because I mean, I know eventually you ended up with your own skin design in Las Vegas was the second one, right?
Yeah, so we stayed there for about 10 years, and you know, I eventually, you know, my partner, you know, wanted to venture off on his own, so I ended up buying half of the company. So now I own 100% of Skin Design, and
What happened? You bought him out?
yeah, I ended up just buying him out. You know, he wanted to move out, go somewhere else, you know. And that's what happened, you know.
And at this time, because I know your notoriety, when did that start? You know what I mean? Like, were you sending pictures into the magazines? Were you traveling to conventions yet? Do you remember your first convention?
Yeah, so in my first convention, I would probably have to say like 97 or something like that, you know. I forgot what year it was, but was it Hollywood Palladium? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that was Gil's convention, right?
I don't know. I would just remember it was in Hollywood, in Hollywood Palladium or something like that. I went there once, and then the other one was Richmond.
Okay.
So Richmond, we already live in North Carolina.
Which
so
is, I think, the oldest running tattoo convention in America.
Yeah. So I think 97 or 98, I started going, and then my mind blew even more, you know? I mean, I already knew about like Jack Rudy, Paul Booth, Philip, just from magazines that I was reading in prison, you know? Because we were, you know, I had magazines, so that's all you do. That's your education right there, you know? So you just remember these guys and you remember their names, so they were like heroes to you, like seeing the work, like, oh my God, like, you know, Tom Renshaw, how you do this kind of, it was so realistic, you know? And when you go to convention, you actually see them. It was like, it's this feeling of like, wow, it's like overwhelming, you know? You become like almost starstruck, you know? You want to talk to them, but then you can't. It's just like, it's just really overwhelming, you know? But it was such a good feeling.
Yeah.
And then, I want to be there, you know? I want to do expos, you know? That, how do you get in, you know? How do you do it? You talk to everybody, you try to get information. It was hard to get information back then, you know? Nobody really wants to talk to you or whatever, you know? But I remember submitting, you know, in the magazine, oh, submit photos, you know, here, you just keep submitting photos. Sometimes, you know, one of your photos gets featured or something, and, you know, you get all excited and, you know, you want to work at expos, and that was like almost impossible. And then I forgot what year it was, when I met Jack Rudy. I got tattooed by Jack. I think it was 2001 or something like that. You know, he was at an expo in North Carolina held by Little John. And Little John introduced me to him. And then when Little John discovered my work, you know, he like put me in his expo. Then he introduced me to Jack Rudy, and then Jack Rudy tattooed me. So he was the first professional artist that tattooed me.
Jack was.
Yeah, Jack was when I got out. So when Jack saw my work, and man, he was just giving me all this advice and everything, and I felt like I got a mentor, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
You and Jack hit it off?
Yeah, right away, man. After he tattooed me, and then you know, between Little John and Jack, they both got me in the expos.
No kidding.
Yeah, just, you know, talking to people, and then, man, I was so blessed to.
So your work was obviously really good at the time, if Jack's sitting there taking you under his wing.
Yeah. I even like try to visit Jack at when I came back to, when I had to come back from from North Carolina, I was gonna see if Jack would hire me there, you know, but I went in there and I talked to like a couple artists there, but Jack was in there, and then just ended up not following up, you know. Yeah.
Do you remember? That's wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
For Jack to take you under his wing like that, was there like a? I mean, this is kind of the answer to my question, but I was going to ask if there was a pivotal moment, whether it was like getting some tattoos in a magazine or winning a contest or a certain convention where you felt like, okay, I've made it. You know, like you had. Like, did you feel a momentum?
Well, I remember the first convention I did was in 2000. It was a 25th year. It was held in Texas, Houston, Texas, or something like that. But everyone was there. I remember, and then I tied for first place there.
When all the heavyweights were there.
When all the heavyweights were there, and I remember, like after I didn't win, they gave it to the other guy, you know. But just being tied.
Yeah.
Up there, after that, everyone kept coming to my booth, you know, and I got to meet like Megan Hooglin, like everybody was there, you know, and it was so embarrassing because my portfolio was all like Tweety birds and like tribals. I had no clue whatsoever about convention, and this was like our first, you know, and somehow we got accepted to go, and we were there, me and my partner. We had two huge booths because we thought it was one booth per artist. So we got two booths. It was supposed to be for 4 artists, so we had like a small little banner with nothing else, you know. And then he was way on the other side, and I was way over here. And our portfolio was nothing but flash,
like street shop style.
Yeah, flash, and just like it was like, oh my God, dude, but.
Yeah.
I got to meet a lot of people there, and you know, it was a good experience.
Learning the hard way.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So after North Carolina, did you keep that shop open after you decided to move out and move to the second one?
Well, something happened with my partner. When we left, we didn't leave on the best terms, you know. He moved out and then eventually came back to the same town we were in, and I guess he opened his own shop. So we were literally like competitors now, you know. So I ran into him and you know, just asked him to come back, you know, like, you know, he didn't have to do that, and you know, there was no beef, like we're still good. And then he just wanted to do his own thing, you know. He just kind of turned away, you know. And at that moment, I felt like, damn, I lost a good friend, you know, somebody that helped save his shop. So my mind was already like, damn, I don't know if I even want to be here now, you know. Right. So I was getting into that feeling. And then a week later, I get the news about my dad, right? Same time where this thing happened with my ex-partner, I get the news about my dad, and, you know, he got like robbed and killed. You know, he was living in New York, you know. I never knew about this because my parents got divorced when I was locked up. So when I got out, we were trying to find him, and we couldn't find him, you know.
You had lost touch.
Yeah, and you know, back then there's no Facebook, there's no nothing, right? He's just gone, you know. So finally, when they did find him, it was already too late. And we went to New York, where he was living at, supposedly, you know, I mean, obviously he had a family, you know, wife, kids of his own, you know. So we went there, and then that's when I met like my half brothers, half sister, you know, his wife. And it was hard for me after that to deal with the shop because, you know, like, you know, dealing with your friend, right? Like, you know, him just opening shop around, right, you know, a mile from you, and then now with your dad. So I was super confused, you know. I was like, and by the way, I was like trying to figure out how to retaliate and find those people that did that to my dad, you know. So I had other plans to go to New York.
Yeah, the old you came out a little bit?
Yeah, the old me came out. And I was plotting this whole thing out. So I was like very confused between that or like, what do I do, you know, because I can't work, I cancel my appointments, I couldn't. It was a hard time for me, you know. This was like 2004. So, you know, I just had my daughter. She wasn't a year yet. So, you know, I decided, you know, like it really came down to her, you know, looking at her and then looking at my dad, like which way do I go? So then I ended up choosing her. And then my mom telling me like, hey, you should move back to the West Coast to be, you know, that way, you know, forget about the East Coast, come be closer to family. So that's what we did, you know. And I tried to open in Cali. I think a couple places where we tried to open was, you know, the realtor that we talked to and a bunch of people, they were saying that we weren't allowed to open because we had to check with the people that was already kind of running other shops around the area, you know, and I understood really quick what that meant, you know. So a lot of places in California was like, they were still, you know, you had to go through like the people that ran it, right? And I said, okay, well, I'm gonna leave that alone. And we talked to a few people too, and they told us the same thing, you know, you had to partner with them, things like that. So I didn't want to do that. And the next best thing was Vegas. You know, let's try out Vegas, you know. So we drove out there and just check it out and eventually found something. And that's where I have to say I really started my career, because I got away from the flash stuff and I didn't want anybody else with me. I want to focus on my craft, on myself, and get my name out there. And that's where it happened, you know. So 2004, we moved to Vegas. 2005, we opened the shop, and then I just grinded, you know, did expos, did, you know, magazines, did a bunch of interviews, and really heavily. My first magazine was in 2004, Outlaw Biker.
Fully invested in the tattoo world. You wanted everything to be...
Yeah, fully invested in like, you know, developing a name for myself. Not doing just like flash work or walk-ins, you know.
Like we were talking about yesterday, they didn't, before tattoo magazines came out, it was all the motorcycle magazines.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Outlaw Biker.
Yeah, it'd be like a biker magazine and a section of tattoos.
Yeah.
Before the tattoo
magazine and Tattoo Flash.
Yeah.
Came in, yeah. International Tattoo was out.
So you're known for putting a lot into your tattoo studios. Like the locations are as important to you and just the whole aesthetic of it. Was this starting to brew when you opened up Las Vegas to be like different from other tattoo studios? Or how was this first studio?
I just wanted like to have my own shop, you know, to be honest, and focus on myself. A lot of my friends from North Carolina, you know, they wanted to follow me from North Carolina, help me build the shop and everything. You know, I was successful in North Carolina, you know, as a business person. I just, you know, after dealing with, you know, my dad and all that, I really wanted to be by myself. So that's where everything started, you know. And I didn't think about like opening a bunch of shops or doing anything like that. I think just having my own in Vegas was just an accomplishment, you know. So when we found it and there was nobody that I had to, you know, report to or anything like that, was a blessing, I think, you know. And then when I opened it, that's what I did. I just grinded, and you know. So my upbringing is like grind, you know.
Yeah.
Even in high school, I sold, you know, everything. I was the guy that people went to when they needed anything, you know. So I knew how to grind. Like I paid my mother's rent when I was in high school, you know. So I did a lot. So I knew how to hustle. I had a hustle mentality.
Hustler mentality.
Yeah. So when I was in Vegas, that kicked in full force, you know. But Vegas was hard. It was hard because, you know, I didn't know anybody. It took about a year to finally like get some sort of traction. You know, I thought I was gonna lose everything at one point. They foreclosed on my house because I wasn't able to keep that. You know, I had a house that we bought in North Carolina. You know, and I was trying to pay that, pay the rent in Vegas too, pay the shop rent. It was heavy, you know. So I did those pit bull flash, and then you know, I had the idea that was my last resort. You know, I was about to go. You know, I wrote my daughters and my wife letters, you know, giving up, you know what I mean, just apologizing to them.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was like that. We couldn't afford it, you know. They were trying to repo my cars. I had to hide my cars every night, you know. Like it was pretty bad. Vegas that first year was rough, you know. And then yeah, going to Home Depot every morning, you know, finding people that has tattoos, right? Like just passing out cards. Hey, I'll hook you up, man. You know, free tattoos. Come see me. You know, every morning, like just go
Home Depot was your
yeah,
spot.
Home Depot.
Blue collar.
Yeah, and then at night would be Walmart, you know, because Walmart stays late open, and everyone goes to Walmart at night. So I'd go Walmart, find people that has tattoos, pass out cards.
I love that though.
That's that grind, you know.
Yes.
That grind.
You know, I mean, even though you're an artist, you know, but that entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
You know, it's like those kind of stories with other business owners, you can exchange stories like that all day long.
Yeah.
You know, all the extra stuff that people don't see.
And you know, and don't think that I don't go through these times where you want to give up. You know, I still go through that to this day. So it's a mindset.
Yes.
You know, how strong your mind is, because it's never going to get easy. You know, the higher you go, the harder it gets. And I believe that now.
Where do you go? What helps you get back into the right frame of mind if you're in a slump?
Well, you know, at the end of the day, man, I have so many life experiences that acts like default in my head. Like whenever I go through any depression, or like when I'm sad for one moment, would you rather be in prison?
Right.
Or, you know, or would you rather have, or say, oh, okay, no. So, you know, I have a lot of, those are like lessons for me that still pops up, man. I can't get away from them, you know. So no matter how bad I'm doing, it's never going to be as bad.
You remind yourself of a harder, darker time.
Yeah, so I don't stay in this state of mind long, you know what I mean? I'll go through it, but then I'll come back real quick, you know.
So when did things start to get better in Vegas?
After the first year, you know, after I did the Pitbull set as my
What
last
happened
resort.
with that? Tell us more about the Pitbull set.
Yeah, so I did the Pitbull set as, you know, because 12 to 9 I have to stay in the shop, and then after hours is when I go and promote, right? So while I'm sitting there and no one's coming in, you know, I just drew, and I just thought of, you know, like my friend Boog, you know, was doing all this flash at the time. It was hot, you know, and then I was like, hey, he did a lot of pit bulls, and I'm gonna do pit bulls too. But you know, I was breeding at the time too, and that gave me the idea to do the pit bull set. So I did a bunch of flash as a last resort. I printed a bunch of them. I did a really smart thing where I found a listing for all the tattoo shops in the United States, right? And I got a list. And I bought a mailing list to all of them, and I did little postcards, and I printed. It was like over 5,000, and I sent those out. Right, last resort, desperation.
Trying to sell your flash?
Trying to sell my flash because I didn't know anything else, you know. So I sent those out, and then man, it was like a blessing from heaven or something. After a week later, you know, I started getting like all these envelopes. I would come to the shop, man, it's like 15 letters. Then the next day another 15, 20. The next day another. Man, I did about probably 30,000 the first month selling flash. The second month I made another 30,000. The third month another 30,000.
Were you prepared to fulfill this?
No, I really said, yeah. We sent everything out, but it was a life-saving thing because after that, man, we're back in business. You know, I just fired one of my good friends. Then I called them back, hey, once you start doing good, so I rehired him back, and
Was there a
everything
name for it? Or just pretty much your Pitbull flash set?
Yeah, it was just my Pitbull.
So there's
flash
like
set that I
before your
did, yeah.
Pitbull flash set and then after.
Yeah,
your
I mean, I
Pitbull
did
flash
2
set.
sets before for Flash, right? I did my animal sets in the past that, didn't really do too well, but I did the Pitbulls it took off,
So that was probably what got your name out there maybe most.
Yes, that right there helped me a lot. Besides magazines, expos, and those Flash, man. So I did those 3 things that was like really critical,
5,000 shops, that's a lot.
You know what? Even over the years, meeting artists at expos, they would thank me for that Flash, because they would tell me like, man, I saved them because the Flash, you know what I mean? So hearing all these things, and such a blessing,
That's
and,
cool.
Yeah, and during the time where you're like about to lose it all, man, you know what I mean? Your house about to be taken. I mean, I did get foreclosed, but like your house in Vegas, right? You're late. Your shop's about to go down.
That's a huge life lesson right there. You put your head down. You figured
Keep
it out.
trying everything until
you literally stamp in letters by yourself.
Yeah,
put
just
them in
me
the
and my
mail.
wife. Licking the stamp, like over 5,000. Yeah.
When we first started Sullen, sorry to take over, but we bought a stamp, and we would when we would have like, whether it's conventions, we would take all of our cash and we would stamp Sullen logos.
Yeah.
And literally, and I had my side hustles as well when I was younger, and I dealt with a lot of cash, but just sit there and stamp these dollars.
Wow.
I'm always waiting for one of those to come back into my hands.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well,
though.
when was Sullen created?
Oh, you're not going to make this about me.
Oh. No, I'm just trying to see the timeline of
We started in 2001 out of our garage, but we almost don't count the first few years because we didn't know what we were doing, Like, it was, I think, 2003 or 4, we finally got into a warehouse. With Sullen, being inspired, being in Southern California, it's easy to get inspired to start a clothing company by seeing so many clothing companies start around here in the LA, OC, San Diego area. But it wasn't until I think 2007 is when Ryan started sitting down and drawing with different tattooers.
Yeah.
So 2007 is when I think the convention you're talking about was Ink Slinger's Ball in Hollywood. That was my first convention as well. So Ryan took me there, and my first 30 tattoos were from Ryan. So I was already passionate and I loved the world. And I also had an uncle who was always in and out of prison, and he ran with the Mexicans in there, and he all black and gray. So I had one uncle that I looked up to as cool. I wanted to get tattoos. All my first tattoos, you got to be black and gray,
Yeah.
And then I have my best friend Ryan, who tattoos on the side, and he takes me to Ink Slinger's Ball, and now I'm seeing all these guys that he was fans of, so I'm learning who these guys are. But then he started sitting down and drawing, first with Tom Berg at SoCal Tattoo in San Pedro, and then that's where he met Carlos Torres. And then at the same time, he was communicating with Nico. So Nico, Carlos, and Tom Berg are our first three
I think
artists.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it kind of...
So that's cool to get the timelines of where everyone's,
Yeah, but 2001, we were doing it out of our apartment, our garage, But 2007, 2008, 2009, that's when we realized, okay, tattooing is what we need to be doing. We found our niche, and let's run with it, Yeah,
that's cool.
But what were we talking about before that? The Pitbull flash books.
Yeah, the success from that, and now he's back on his feet.
Yeah.
Because we were save the shop.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know when did the entrepreneurial mindset ignite? Because now you have a reputation, not only for opening shops, but like Dakota said, going a whole other level, as well as your business model. I mean, right now, you started with Vegas. Where was your second shop at?
The second shop would be still in Vegas, but as an expansion, right? So the original one that we were there for 9 years, it was 800 square foot. So, you never see the future. I never have a dream of this or that. I mean, you might here and there, but the thing is, you have to like is one thing at a time. Like, you know what I
I'm
mean?
the same
So,
way. When people
yeah.
ask me what's your 5-year plan, I'm not good at that answer.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot. If I, like, if somebody say, hey, what do you wish to do? Whatever. There's so many things,
Yeah.
right? But you just, when you're there, you're just focusing on one thing at a time. So, you know, I didn't think about, oh, I want to open 5 shops, this and that, want this.
Yeah.
You know, like when I was in my 800 square foot studio, I just wanted to get better. I wanted to get good at my craft and develop my name. So it's one thing at a time. And then you accomplish that. And then, okay, what's after that? Now you're seeing people want to mentor with you, right? So that 800 square foot location, we outgrew it. So now it became, okay, I got 1 apprentice and then 2 apprentices and then more apprentice and then a front desk and a manager. That's too much, right? So it's like, okay, you have to think next, you know? So we try to get a bigger location and we try multiple places, you know? And, you know, you don't think like, oh, I want 5,000 square foot location next. No, you don't think like that. You think, okay, I want twice bigger than 800 square foot, you know, maybe 2,000 would be ideal. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's next. So then you go into there. Then once you're there, you're outgrowing that. And then you know what I mean? So you have to take it one thing at a time. And with business too, like I've learned so much about business. I've been in business for a while since we opened the shop. But when I started working with people that understood business, you learn a lot, you know? You learn about taxes and how write-offs and all these things you can do with taxes, right? People are so scared with taxes, but because they don't know the game.
Yeah.
But once you understand how the taxes work, I mean, the government, they allow you to, there's a whole list of things you can deduct. Like, you just got to play the game.
Yeah, and you're
You know what I'm
leading
saying?
that. Like tattooers tell me all the time how they go to him, you know, with these questions.
Yeah. There's so many people. You bury somebody on your property, tax-free.
Yeah. And you know, like I come from like an Asian family where they believe in like, hey, don't, like my parents taught me this, you know, because they had businesses. Don't put money in the bank. Don't pay taxes. The IRS is going to see it. That was bad for you, you know. So I lived in my first 10 years, you know, like in business, that's what I learned, right? And then, you know, you don't put everything, you only claim a little bit. And you put everything, you know, in your house.
Right.
And then when it comes time to expand or time to buy a house, like, oh, this is, you know, we need to see your tax returns, right? And, oh, you know, you're not showing that you're making enough. Oh, no, but I am making enough.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't show that.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, man, I'm confused here. Like, you know, is it good or bad to, you know what I mean? So it depends on what you want to do. Most tattoo artists, there's no right or wrong. It's up to you, right? It's your life.
Well, it's your credit. And that's what my parents instilled in me. It's if you have good credit, you can walk off the car lot with 3 cars.
Yeah.
You know, it's the most gangster thing to have good credit.
But credit, but also, you know, the financials to show, right? Like your you know,
well, that's what I'm
3
saying.
years
You can't
tax
get good
return.
credit without showing all that.
Right? Yeah, they want to see all that, you know, in anything you do in life.
So that was another learning lesson for you. So.
Yeah, so once you start understanding that, then it's, you know, and you have people that help you understand that, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, and people are so scared to pay tax, but you know, it's like, if you're scared, man, you're probably limiting yourself to, you know what I mean? But there's no right or wrong, you know, whatever you choose to do with your life, whatever you're comfortable with is up to you, you know, but this is what I do, this is what we do. Yeah. Because if you're going to show a profit, you're going to make tax. If you don't want to pay tax, you have to keep investing. So what do? We're going to keep investing, you know, and that's why you're seeing like we're doing so much, because it doesn't, you know,
it doesn't stop. In yourself.
Yeah. I mean, we have over 100 employees, you know, we have people in like different countries and stuff like that too, helping. But we're super blessed that we are where we are. And like I said, man, we don't know what we want to do or what we're going to do, but it's just one thing at a time, you know. We're seeing how well it's doing with this, and we're outgrowing it. Okay, let's do more. Let's help more people, you know. Let's make more impact. You know, let's do something that, you know, that, I don't know, that can change things, right?
Yeah.
Change the industry, and you know.
But you're doing. You're not just talking. You're doing.
Yeah, we're trying.
You're a doer.
Yeah, thanks.
But you have this reputation for being innovative, you know, for having a different mind frame. You know, like even today when shops are closing down and people are complaining about being slow, you're opening shops and your team are busy, you know, and if, you know, and I've talked to a lot of the guys in your shops, you know, it's like, I know your work ethic is par none. I know you have that hustler's mentality, but at the same time, everyone, they respect you, they have love for you, and you inspire them, you know? So it's like, you don't allow your tattooers to sit around twiddling their thumbs like you were at Home Depot. Yeah. I mean, do you tell them to get to Home Depot?
Yeah, actually, yes.
Yeah.
So my apprentices, yes, there is a requirement for everybody that, you know, there is no sitting around, there is no, you know, and, you know, that's what I have to.
I mean, why do you think your shops are all so busy compared to some of these other shops that aren't?
I would contribute to that, you know what I mean? Just because, you know, like I want it a certain way, right? And, you know, if you own a shop, it's up to you how you want to run it. Mm-hmm. You know, like I said, I don't want to get in between, like, you know, there's no right or wrong. You do what you do, right? And I do me. But if you want to know what I do, this is what I do. I just, you know, everyone has to hustle, you know, everyone has to contribute. We're all a team, right? It's not just us, it's, you know, it's you guys too, together, you know? Now,
forgive me if I'm wrong, but I remember when I started hearing about you, I knew how good you were, but I almost remember there was a time where you didn't have a presence on social media. Weren't you kind of late to the game on social media?
Yes, I was very late.
Yeah,
I mean, I got in a little early. I mean, I got in early with everyone else, and then I fell off. And then, by the time I came back, I was really late.
Yeah, because I remember I knew how good you were. And I knew of you, and I didn't know you yet, but then I remember when I would see you at the conventions, I would see the respect that a lot of the masters gave you, and it almost was like, well, I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was that good. Man, these guys really respect Robert. Yeah,
man, thanks, man. You know, I feel like I missed the bus on a lot of things, you know, in the industry, you know. Like during the time when, I feel like when tattooing was more pure, if I can say, right? I wasn't able to get on that bus with everyone else, you know. So I came in like at the tail end when the expos was kind of just allowing everyone to come, and it became not.
You just missed that.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Era.
Yeah. I wish I would have made that ride, you know, where it was kind of like pure and.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to be there, you know, seeing everybody that I looked up to, like I really wanted to be at that expo, you know, but I was on that list, right? Like any expo, you're on the list, you know, but now that the expo is open to everyone, right? Even garage tattooers, you know, so it's not the same feeling.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still honored to be a part of it, but it's just not, I feel like I missed that train, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same way with social media, I missed that too, when it was like, what followers was coming in like that, and I've seen everybody go up. I've seen Nico and Carlos, and I've seen, you know, Ink Slingers and everybody else take off, you know, and I'm proud that they did and they took off, you know. I'm okay. I don't feel like I deserve anything like that, but I'm glad to be where I'm at, you know, and I'm in my own lane, and I'm glad that they're able to, like, you know.
Well, you caught up. You know, it's like your team now. It's like I see the content you put out there. I see your team and the work ethic that everybody has.
I have to adapt.
Yeah.
I have to learn to adapt, right? Yeah. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the social media world, even when I started making social media, I felt like I was past the point. I was 24. I was like, oh, I'm too old to make social media videos.
Yeah.
But I was just a baby.
But you've had hard times figuring it out as well. You told me the stories of your first videos, and then you figured it out by doing it.
But in this like new world, you just have to jump in. I think as it keeps growing, there's always going to be opportunity. You just got to know which way to jump in.
Yeah.
And not be afraid to fail. You have to go and fail over and over again.
You know,
take the lumps along the road.
Yeah.
Did I think I remember hearing, were you one of the first people to figure out how to allow people to finance their tattoos?
Yes.
When was that?
Huh?
How long ago was that?
That was 2000, either 22, I'd have to look back, but it was somewhere around there where we partnered with Klarna and the firm, and they were, you know, they didn't think we were gonna be able to do it, you know what I mean? But once they started seeing who we were and, you know, obviously showing our financials and things like that, we became the first tattoo company to be able to offer financing.
And you still do that?
Yes, we still do that.
It's a genius idea.
Yeah, I hear a lot more of it now with a lot of the anesthesia tattoos.
Yeah.
I hear people trying to dig into that, but you were the first.
Not the anesthesia tattoo.
No, but just the financing part.
Oh, yeah, the financing part, yes.
Yeah.
Because it is a luxury buy, and sometimes tattoos are very expensive. So if you could stretch that out over a year,
Yeah.
it's a genius idea.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, there's a lot of things that's happening right now in our industry that's very questionable. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people are hating. A lot of people, you know, there's a lot of emotions because, you know, we're moving so fast that it's becoming, you know, corporate. It's becoming, you know, now you got capital groups that's buying all the products and, you know what I mean, they're involved now. So I think you just have to let it be and adapt to what's going to happen and how to do it better.
Yeah.
You know, always stay on top of that. I don't think you can change what's going to happen.
I agree.
You know, and I think for the ones that are worried about it, I think it's just because they don't know what else to do. You know, I think they're just, because that's all that they do, that's all they've ever known. And I feel them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're seeing the change too. But if you're going to sit there and hate and do all these things and not contribute to how do we do it better, or what else are we going to do to, you know, it's not helping, you know. And that's the reason why, like, we're doing a lot of other things right now that's beyond imaginable, something that's really never been done, you know. I mean, uniting artists together to build something bigger, like, you don't see that, you know. And it's really because of, you know, this industry has always been, I feel like, people want to just, it's about me, you know, it's about, like, you know, I want the shine, I want the credit, you know, I don't want to shine him, you know what I mean? Or, you know what I mean? It's always been about me, right? It's always like, I don't want to promote anyone else but me. Book with me, you know? Don't book with anyone else. I want to keep everyone, like, you know, as far down as possible because I want to go to the top, right? It's always been kind of like that, you know? Like, I don't know. I think once we get out of that mindset and really, like, figure out how to do it better, you know, because together we grow faster, we make things happen. When we're by ourselves, thinking about me, nothing's gonna change, you know. There's already people out there that, you know, capital groups, right? They're not one person.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of people with a bunch of money that can make anything happen. And they're doing it. They've been doing it. We all know it. It's all ran by them, you know? So what are we doing about that?
Yeah.
Right? If we're sitting by ourselves just thinking, you know, and you're hating, right? You have to figure out how to counter it, you know, and how to make it better. You can't hate on them.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%.
Yeah.
You know, we all can get discouraged or grumpy about changes or things, but it don't matter if you're a plumber or an electrician or a dentist. Technology changes and things change and the way of business changes. And yeah, you have to adapt. I mean, even like us with TikTok, I told you, TikTok I was struggling with. You know, when I first got on there, everyone's singing and dancing. I'm like, how do we
we're not doing that.
incorporate this into tattooing, you know? And yeah, if it took us a year or two, and now I'm excited about it because I think we're figuring it out. But you have to figure it out.
You know, and people are also like complaining, like, you know, one of the reasons why the industry is not the same, right, is kind of oversaturated. You hear that a lot.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah.
Right? All over the world now, right?
Yes.
But it's going to get more. You cannot stop that. Right? So what are you going to do to change that? And if you look around, there's already schools out there that's been operating for years.
Yeah.
In China, in everywhere else, right? That people haven't spoken about. And, you know, instead of hating on them, right? How do you counter to make it better?
Yeah.
You know?
And what do you think that answer is?
Well, the answer is, I mean, we're already going to be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are going to be hating on it. That's fine, right? But we're going to be teaching everything. You know, we're going to be teaching, you know, a lot, especially like the older generation tattooer, right? A lot of the OGs and the old school guys, they frown upon that kind of stuff, you know. And I did at one point, you know, but I had to get out that mindset because it's already happening. I can't live with hate every day.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? That's not going to get me nowhere, you know. So we have to make it better. And there has to be a school where they're going to teach about you old school guy and you OG guy and you. Who's going to do that? Right? You can hate on the school, but how else are they going to teach that? Or how else are they going to teach anything? Right? So if anything, it falls back on the original guys for not doing that first. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So instead of hating on it, let's get out of that mindset and let's do it better, you know? Because that way, there's so much people that's going to learn. They're going to learn it better. They're going to know who's who. They're going to learn history. They're going to learn so much more, you know?
Because you see some of these knuckleheads that are doing the tattoo schools, and they've barely been tattooing a couple years.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's a small part of what's happening, right, with all these changes, you know? So...
yeah, that's a tough one.
yeah.
Trying to reach out to some of the OGs and being like, let me help you. Let me teach you.
Yeah.
It's not always easy to teach an old dog new tricks.
No, but it's one step at a time.
Yeah.
It's, you know, one foot forward, one thing at a time.
Because, of course, we both see both sides, you know? It's like,
yeah,
we understand if there's all these tattoo schools popping up and they're pumping out, you know, someone that's went under a 2-week training course. Now they got their little certificate and they think they can go run around town getting jobs.
Yeah. And then lately you saw that thing with Ganga and Nike partnering up to do a school. Everyone's talking about it now, you know? And like, I saw it coming. How do you not see it coming? There's going to be more, you know?
Yeah,
and you have to understand that that's going to happen. You can't hate on the guy, right? I mean, you can, but you're just hurting yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you're making yourself depressed. You're making yourself, you know, figure out how to do better.
Yeah. It was like that with the reality shows. I remember talking to, you know, Joe and Corey, and they're just like, I didn't want to do a reality show, but I'd rather it be me than someone else, with Joe Capabianco hopping on Best Inc. or Corey Miller with LA Inc. You know, it's like they got hated on, but they're just like middle fingers in the air. Like, if we don't do it, someone else less deserving is going to do it.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that's a whole other topic. But
at the end of the day, it's America, and you know, opportunities is out there. You just gotta go find it and do it. You know what I mean? Don't be scared of it and just try it. You know?
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen if you don't try it. But I've done a lot of things that didn't work out and failed and everything. You know, so you can't worry about that. You just gotta keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. The anesthesia tattoos. You know, it's like when it first started popping up. And then all of a sudden you'll see another group do it, and it's some of your friends, and you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And then there's another group that does it, and it's like, whoa, I really wasn't expecting that. You know, like there's more people coming out doing it that you never would have thought would support that and do it. And once again, it's a completely different topic, but I think it separates just the way of thinking, forward thinking, you know, not just, I guess, just being open-minded.
Yeah, but it's a free-for-all, right? Yeah. Like somebody figured out a way. I mean, they do plastic surgery with anesthesia, right? So they figured out a way to do it with tattooing, and it works.
And there's people with money that are paying for it.
Yeah, there's people that's money that's paying for it. Now they're going to work on ways where people can afford it and not being so expensive, you know. So it's coming. All this is coming. And I understand, you know, tattooing was something that, you know, you have to earn and, you know, things like that. But, you know, I think the days of like, you know, being scared of someone because they had tattoos are gone.
Yeah.
You know, you walk down the street, somebody with tattooed, like, oh shoot. I think those days are gone. So earning, like, or looking a certain way, I think that image is, you know what I mean? People, it's so respected now. People, you have tattoos all over. Nobody cares. Yeah. Nobody's scared of you.
Cops and old ladies are complimenting you.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? So there's, like, earning what? You know, earning like that you're tough.
But for someone who, you know, has not used, you know,
I will never use it.
Yeah, you know,
I
so
still
like
want to feel it. You know what I mean? I enjoy it, but that's everyone's opinion.
Yeah.
But if you can afford it and you choose to do it, hey man, more power to you, man. Good for you and good.
Yeah,
for
Post Malone or these NFL players, they have to listen to people like me calling them a pussy for going under anesthesia.
Yeah.
But they don't care either as they're laughing their way to their mansion in their full back piece.
Yeah, they just drop $100 grand. They're like, I'm tattooed now.
Yeah, they're like, look at my back piece.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see both sides. You know what I mean? I think it's frustrating. And
see, I see it like opportunity, right?
Yeah. Well, you also, like you said, it's not going away. You can complain. You're not going to complain it away.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away.
And then, you know, if somebody else found a way and tried to make it more, you know.
Yeah, if he's making 100,000, why
let's follow him. Like, let's, you know, and do it better.
And have our tattoo leaders do it the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's everyone's choice, man. You do whatever you want to do. It's a service, right? You don't have to agree with anything, but if you provide a service to people, right? And if their decision is their money, you can't tell people how they're going to spend their money. You have nothing, you know. If that's their choice, hey, welcome it. You make some money off of it, you know.
Yeah.
They get what they want. Life goes on. Everyone's happy. Just keep making it better.
It's going to take a while for a lot of people to wrap their head around
that. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, just like everything else.
Yeah.
It takes a while, you know.
Yeah, when someone brought this up recently, I thought it was interesting, like when the invention of cars. Do you know how many, like what happened to all the horses that everyone rode?
They were seeing cars and you're like, are you stupid? I'm going to take my horse to work.
That's what I'm saying. People were mad. They're like, dude, what are we going to do with all these horses?
Yeah.
Everyone's got horses. Cars, we got all these horses. What are we going to do with them?
Do you think people are mad about those cars that drive people now, the taxis with no drivers? Waynos? They're all over Vegas. You know, you think the taxi drivers are not worried? You think the Uber drivers are not worried? Of course.
Oh, Uber was one of the best inventions. I feel bad for the taxi drivers, but I'm like, why didn't we think of this sooner? You know?
Taxi hates Uber. Uber hates Waymo. It's just, it's a progression and everything in every industry upgrades in some way.
Yeah, there's no stopping.
And the people in the back or in the earlier days are like, no, we don't need that kind of innovation. And then you adapt.
Let's talk about some of the shops that you got opening up, if you don't mind. So right now, I know you have 2 in New York, 1 in Hawaii, 1 in Orange County, and 1 in Vegas. Is that 5?
Yeah, and we have 1 in Nashville. And we're
coming up is Nashville, Orange County, and then your big one in Hawaii.
Yeah, so the one in Orange County, we just signed a lease like a couple of days ago to expand. Same place, same area, same location, just a different
Beach
spot.
and Garden Grove Boulevard.
Yeah,
that's
so we
my
have
neighborhood there. That's where I grew up.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I grew up Garden Grove right there, like around Beach and Chapman.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so we're still there, just a bigger location. So we gotta, you know, remodel it and do all that stuff pretty soon. Nashville is set to open, supposed to be the end of this year, but doesn't look like it'll be till probably spring. You know, but that's a big one. It's a huge one. We're putting so much money into it. Yeah, it's awesome, man.
And now how close is that to downtown?
It's right there.
Really?
Yeah, it's right there. It's
I've only been there once, but that's a cool town.
It's a cool town. Yeah. I think one of our artists is out there, you know, so we're partnering up with him. Our artist Jake, you know, he's lived there for quite some times now. So, you know, he'll be the one to kind of help run it and everything.
But in Orange County, everything worked out well enough to where you have one spot. I think you got 3 tattooers there. And then you're opening up a second in the same... in the same area. Because it's not
enough space.
I don't want to call it a mall, but it's sort of like a...
It's like a food hall type thing, right?
Yeah,
like public
cool.
market, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of his first, you know? It's never been... I don't think they had that before, right?
No, and they did it well. And then, all right, so in Nashville, you're going big.
Yeah.
But now Hawaii, tell us about that one. Because I know that was like a pretty famous restaurant, wasn't it?
Yes,
like
yes.
Presidents and celebrities would attend and stuff like that?
Yes. Yes, but just a couple of days ago, we had got hit with some crazy news, man. And,
bad news?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's not good. But
rolling with the punches?
But rolling with the punches. This is what I'm talking about. When you get hit, the bigger you try to go, and then, you know, sometimes these lessons are real, and they hit hard, you know, and they could be hit with like major losses, you know.
Yes.
And we're talking about like millions, right?
Ouch.
Yeah, they hurt. When you have that kind of money, you know what I mean, and then, you know, having to lose that, nobody really knows until you're there, and then you're like, fuck, man, it's true, you know. Sometimes, like, the bigger you go, sometimes the harder it is, right, when you take a loss, you know.
But that's all new and fresh, so to be determined.
Yeah, it was to be determined. We're still in the works of figuring things out, and, you know, but yeah.
But that, if it all plans out, that's going to be historical for Hawaii, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, with the economy and everything that's been happening, everything is being raised. I don't know if the tariffs or anything like that has to do, but you know, we were hoping this new administration would really help, you know, because last year was so bad, and doesn't look like it, man. Right. Doesn't look like for the next couple of years we're projecting like it's going to be worse, you know. So I think this has a lot to do with what's been happening. Like they raised like the management fee and everything, and it was like $20,000 a month that they raised on us.
$20,000 a month.
Just the management fees. Yeah. So there's something like I have to think heavily about, you know, because it's a long lease that we signed, substantial, and the amount of money that we are already put in is substantial as well. So
they're working against you. It's like California. It's like they don't want you to succeed.
Yeah, but it's like you know, you mix the good and the bad, man. That's life, you know. You get hit with this, but then you have this to look forward to, and then you get hit with that, and then you have this to look forward to, you know. So we're not just like putting everything into one thing. Like there's a lot of things that we're doing that's gonna help, you know, with everything. And
you take a deep breath and think, at least I'm not in prison.
Yeah, that's it.
Things could
be worse. You rent,
Yeah.
live in, and then you just, hey man, you got your daughter, you know what I mean? You just like move on, you know?
Yeah.
It is what it is. Whatever will happen, you know?
Can you, are you able to talk to us about your new adventure with Merger Inc.?
Yeah, I can talk about Merger Inc.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's,
now that it's finally, you know, kicked off, and it wasn't easy, but it was good, you know, but we saw this coming. And man, to be able to partner with some of the biggest names out there.
Yeah, let them know let the listeners know exactly what's going on with it.
Yeah, so Merger Inc. is pretty much a company that we started with me, Fernie Andrade, and Big Sleeps. And, you know, two guys that I've idolized, you know, that are really doing big things in the industry. And we were finally able to kind of, you know, sit down and talk and do something together finally, you know, and it's about time because, you know, just like everything is changing, well, this is another change that we were talking about earlier. And, you know, capital groups are taking over, right? We're seeing it left and right, you know. They've started out as something small and now they're just buying from supply chains to tattoo shops to magazines to expos. It's there. So pretty soon there won't be no more tattoo artists own anything, you know. The only thing we're gonna have is our little private studio or shop that we can afford, and that's all we're gonna be. That's all we are. You know, the people that are really making the big money are everyone else, right? That have seen this to be, you know, turning out to be a multi-billion-dollar industry and jumped on it. And while we're sitting back hating on things and not doing anything about it, this is who Merger Inc. is. We are a company, an alliance of 3 artists right now, doing everything else that outside of tattooing that is tattoo related. You know, the supply chain, the expos, anything, magazines, ink, machines, anything that has to do with tattooing, we're going to be a part of. And we're in the right stage to be doing that, and we're grateful to be able to work hard to even be in the spotlight to be doing this.
Yeah.
Because I know tattooing is hard work. There's a lot of labor, and the only thing you get out of it is one client at a time. And the only, you know, so if you're not the type of person that's business savvy or able to think for future stuff, you know, it's going to be tough. You know, you're going to get taken out really soon. And, you know, this is the reason why we created this, because we don't want to get taken out really soon. We want tattoo artists own to be around. And we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that we're here. We'll make sure that, you know, we're not being bought. We'll make sure that it's not owned by anyone else. I've been approached by many people to be, you know, bought out or things like that. And there's no money whatsoever. We work too hard for this. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? And that's what we are.
Yeah.
And we started out with ink, and now we're going into many other exciting things, you know. And we have our first studio, a Merger Ink studio in Mexico that's about to open. And we have launched our products there as well and received really good feedback from it. So we're going to continue and eventually go, you know, international.
Is that
in the
Tijuana?
US. Yes.
Yeah. I remember it was you or Sleeps or somebody. I remember hearing you were in Tijuana recently.
Yeah.
All right.
Sleeps a big, he's a big name out there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, you know, not too far of a drive.
Yeah, not too far.
I guess from Vegas, a little bit longer, but 2 hours from here.
Yeah. But like I said, it's, you know, one step at a time, one product at a time, and just take it from there. You know, we don't have dreams of like, you know, doing anything, you know, like opening a bunch of studios, this and that, or, you know, even going anything bigger, but we are gonna, you know, kind of pivot to where we need to, you know, depend on how everything is going, right? Because we can't let capital groups take over schools, right?
Yes.
And it's here. They're already here. We have to step into it. I have no choice. So you can hate, you can do all these things, but at the end of the day, man, I'm speaking for tattoo artists. And if we're not the example, who else is going to be? You know what I mean? And the hope and the ultimate goal is to eventually get everyone on board. We started out with us, you know, because we know it's impossible to get everyone. But see where that goes. And then hopefully, you know, there'll be a lot more people that will see it right?
I respect you for it.
Yeah.
Protecting
Thank
the
you.
industry.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I love that you are so respected and well liked, in our community, and you're taking the lead, and we see it, we witness it, and I'm excited to see, the next month, year, 5 years.
Yeah, thank you,
Did
bro.
you ever think you'd be in this position?
No, there's no way. Like to even be here right
But
now.
you enjoy
like,
it.
Even with all the bad things that's happening, like I'm still blessed for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all part of the journey. I have to embrace the good and the bad. And yeah, that's how we live, man. And there's no plans of, like my partner was telling me, like, oh man, you're going in like retirement phase, and I thought about it, like, I don't think so, man. I think like I feel like I'm just starting again. I feel like I just, I'm just getting started. Like I don't know. I'm just so excited, and there's a lot of things I want to do. With creating what I want, like and just everything, man. I'm just it's weird.
How's your back?
My back sucks, but it's what I mean. It's just I'm still here, still tattooing 5 days.
5 days a week?
Yeah, sometimes 6.
Oh, on that note, you got to tell us about your that 30-day.
Oh yeah.
30 days, 2 large
Yeah.
pieces
So
a day.
You're a maniac. Where did that come from?
You know what? It just comes from just like challenging yourself. Can
you let our sorry to cut you off? Can you let our listeners know that deal as well from start to finish?
like I'm kind of like a very like I'm hungry, right? Like I'm very motivated, very ambitious. So every now and then I always think of stuff that like kind of edgy or anything that would kind of like test you, and I thought about that, like what if I did like a challenge, like a 30-day challenge for like a month, doing 2 clients a day, 2 full-day clients. So in other words, 8 hours each client in a day.
You're doing 16-hour days.
Yes, 2 different clients. It's not on one client 16 hours. That's different.
Well, it's probably more than that in between the clients and.
Well, when you have 2 clients, the design's different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's one client, you're doing 16 hours, it's
probably more like a
feasible.
20-hour
It's
day.
better,
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you have 2 clients a day, that's challenging. So I did that and I pulled it off. I did 2 clients a day for 30 days straight and pulled off.
This was just something you wanted to challenge yourself with.
Yeah,
To see if
something
you
I
could
wanted
do
to
it.
challenge myself, just everything, like mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, it was all combined. And I pulled it off, man.
That's so impressive. Was week 1
Bro,
or 4 the worst?
Yeah. It was the worst. Like,
Was it the beginning or the worst?
oh, the beginning was the worst. Well, the very first day when I flew from Hawaii, man, I had a flu.
Oh, shit.
And I was dealing with that damn fever and the flu, and then going straight to my client the next day, but that was like so difficult, man. And I didn't realize like how difficult it was until like that first week. I was like, oh my God, but it was like,
Sign up for it.
yeah, but it's like, imagine like being delirious, right? When you get to the point where you're delirious, it's like that doesn't stop. That feeling, you're delirious for 30 days. And you only sleep maximum 4 hours a day. So usually when you sleep 4 hours maximum, you usually catch up the next day, right? With sleep. No. So this is 4 hour.
That's a nightmare.
4 hour. So you never get to catch up. So you come in work just like, you don't know what's going on. I had to take IV, I had to take like, just to get myself up, and still trying to pull through, It was tough, but I did it,
Still dealing with, well, even like cancellations or clients tapping out or, there's so many hurdles, all the stars need to align. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a couple times where I felt like, man, I was like throwing up one time, and then I was just like, it was so bad. I was dizzy and like nauseated, and I still had to keep pushing through. You know, I do admit that that was one day that I had to tap out, but we were already like 6 hours deep in. You know, but that's the only thing like that I say like.
Why were you like falling asleep on him?
No, bro, I was nauseated. I was throwing up. Yeah, throwing up and just like.
You physically couldn't continue.
Yeah, phically just.
You still got 6 hours in. That's
Yeah,
still
but I still wanted to go. You know, I was still going. And then the client, you know, saw me. Then finally, I was like, hey, I normally don't like tap, but I think we have. You know, like I said, we're already like 6 something hours in. You know.
And then you documented the whole thing. Where can people find this?
Yeah, we documented the whole thing. You know, we talked to some like producers too, and like, you know, show them what I did. And I told them like I plan on doing another one, but this time I want to do like a 60-day challenge.
Really?
Yeah. And they want to be involved in it, you know, so I think that 30-day like kind of like, you know, spark things up, but they want to be there. And this time is going to be like really like documented properly where they got, you know, like I know what I got to do now. I know I have to have a bed right next to me so I don't have to drive. You know, as soon as I'm done tattooing, just go in the room and sleep right away.
Oh, so there was commuting involved too.
It's a lot, bro. Yeah. And then the designing and planning, okay, I need to do that way in advance. So that way, right when my appointment comes, I have it ready. Whatever I'm doing, I'm not scrambling, trying to think, you know, like design. So those two, if I have that, and then I want to do like a power nap in between, like a 1 hour or less power nap in between the 2 appointments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so with
important.
those 3, I think I'm going to be good. But this is 60 days straight. Yeah.
I don't know.
So
He already did it
So I
once.
do
You
it,
do it
you
to
know?
yourself again.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's one of those situations where what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, or if you're literally taking days or weeks off of your life.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is. But it's just, I just want to do
Sleep's
it.
important.
yeah.
Sleep's very important. And it's more so as you get older.
Yes.
Because I know it can cut time into your life.
And how old are you?
53.
53?
Yeah. No, 54. I just turned 54.
Recently?
Yeah. In June.
Birthday.
Thanks.
Oh, June? Yeah, not so recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, we forget
still-
we forget when we start getting older.
Yeah, to have the energy you do is just very inspiring. Like at your age,
Yeah, thanks.
just continue to crush and just live day by day, coming up with new ideas and what I can do to change the industry.
Yeah. Thank you. And I think it's just my mind too, you know, like I sleep like, I literally wake up between 5 and 7, like it's my internal clock or something. And I usually, even to this day, I don't get much sleep at that, you know, 4 hours, 5, it's almost like the norm. And I take like all this sleeping medicine. I try to, you know, take the edible.
Even if it's on your day off, the melatonin don't work.
No, nothing works. I'm just like, man, my mind's always like excited or something. I don't know.
That's it. You're innovative.
Yeah, something.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah.
Hustler.
I go to the shop and, you know what I mean? I pump my guys up and everyone's like, you know.
But like I said, I know, I've heard these guys tell me, like how much you inspire them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, I can tell you're kind of a strict boss, you know, like you keep everyone busy.
Yeah, but strict, I don't know if I would say strict,
Not
but
strict,
strict, but in a good way if it is strict.
Well, moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I inspire people, right?
You do.
Like I try to motivate them, you know, I try to teach them like there's more in them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying you're good at it because I know there's some people who you hear some of the shop tattooers, you know, maybe like complaining that someone's too strict. But I don't
Maybe you have to lead by example.
Yeah, I don't ever hear anyone say anything negative.
Because there's no one outworking me.
Exactly.
I'll tell you right now. There's no one new, old, or in it that's going to come to my shop and outwork me.
Yeah, you have to set the bar.
It's just been that way, you know? Even at conventions, we're always the last one out. It started out with me. Since 2003 with Little John's show, you know? I've always been that way. And then now when you see like your whole team at the expo, tattooing late with you, 3, 4 in the morning or whatever it is, it's inspiring. Like I look at that and I feel, you know, a lot of gratitude, man, because like, wow, man, look at these guys, man, you know? But, yeah.
You have a great team.
Yeah, I do.
You have a great team. You have a lot of talent.
I'm so blessed for my team. Every single one of them, man. I give all of them credit.
Well, you pick them well.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's one thing, because I try to do the same thing, you know? It's like the company you surround yourself around is so important.
And I'll be honest, it's not for everyone, right? Because people have came and, hey, this isn't for me anymore, you know? This is like a lot.
Yeah.
You know? I need my days off, or I need my... It's not for everyone.
Correct.
I get it, you know? But there's not one person that hasn't left better, right? That the way that they came in. Everyone has left better.
Yeah.
So we're grateful for that, you know, to be able to see how they were when they came in and see how they left, you know?
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. You got any other questions? I feel like...
Feels like we got...
I know these guys got to get going for setup, and you got meetings for your other shop. I don't want to keep you too long.
Oh, we're good. Yeah,
I appreciate you
we're good.
coming out
I'm
here.
grateful to be here talking to you guys, you know? Thank you for having me. It's just an honor.
Absolutely. I learned some
You
good
guys
things
do a lot
about-
of great things for the industry too, you know, so I have a lot of respect.
Well, please, if there's anything that we can ever do to help out or help get the word out, please don't ever hesitate to ask.
Yeah.
You know, we do try to use our platform to help our friends, and, you know, like you were saying earlier, you know, our hashtag, Together We Rise.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we are definitely in the philosophy that it's better to put our heads together and work together and figure out ways to help each other.
Yeah, stop the hate.
Yeah. I don't do well with negativity.
Yeah.
I don't. When people are sitting around complaining, I don't vibe well with that. You know, and I'm guilty of complaining or being negative like anybody. I have bad days.
Yeah.
But I feel like you gotta figure things out and work through it.
You do.
Yeah. Because this life we live isn't easy.
Yeah.
But
And no one's perfect, you know, like we complain sometimes, but hey, we get through it, you know, you check ourselves, you find a way to check ourselves, and then we move forward. It's life, you know, it's human nature, you know, it's emotions.
I feel fortunate that I have the ability to be grateful. I'm very grateful for my life and the people in my life and the people that I come across and the people that I continue to get to spend time with, you know, on these journeys, you know, traveling, getting to see all you guys at conventions, you know, like, and I don't know, maybe some people aren't lucky enough to have the ability to be grateful.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, contributing your time and everything to push our industry forward, you know, we all appreciate you, we appreciate you. You guys are doing a lot of a good thing for us, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for recognizing that.
Respect, man. Yeah.
The feelings are mutual, my friend. Is there any last things that you'd like to talk about or bring up?
Just stay tuned for my book is coming out.
Oh,
and
that's
then
right.
so it's been a long, it's going to be big from what I hear. So that's all I can say about it, but it's going to be like, and it's more to come after that even, so, but I'm going to keep it right there because there's so much I can say about that, you know.
Well, make sure you keep us posted on that.
Oh,
we'll
we
be
will.
happy to help get the word out on that.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, I'm excited to even like, you know, like who would have thought, right? Like you say, we don't think about these things and then you just keep doing you and then things happen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long has that been in the making?
It's been in the thoughts for over 10 years, but it's been in the making for about like, going on 3 years.
That's exciting.
Yeah, but it's timing, it's God's timing, and it's just, you know, like putting the right people, the right time together. I believe in all that, you know. So I'm grateful, man. I'm a little bit nervous, but excited.
Yeah.
And I'm not like the fame type, you know. I don't look for like to be famous or anything like that, you know. But if it has some part to do with it, and if I gotta have it in order to take us where we need to be, then so be it, you know?
It's being a leader. It's not being fame hungry. You're just you're a good leader. You enjoy what you do, and you're a good human, and you're a great tattooer.
Yeah, thank you.
You enjoy what you do. You can see it. You can see that you're enjoying this whole process, even when you take it on the chin.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's the city or the health department or whoever it is, you take it on the chin and you figure it out and you move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We got a lot of respect for you. Thank you so much
thank you,
for
bro.
coming down
Appreciate it,
today.
man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys so much.